Hey guys, Mike here with RPQ. It's May 11th, 2022. I promised you more market updates and I'm here to deliver. So this is starting to look very interesting down there, right? Look at this congestion zone here. So what we're having here is something where we potentially could see a bounce. And there's a few things which are really interesting. So if you remember yesterday's update, if you haven't watched yesterday's update, which I posted on May 10th, right? So look in the YouTube channel. Or just go on this channel that you're watching right now and just look at yesterday's video. I really don't know how to link things like that in YouTube yet. I have to all figure this out. But watch the video because it explains some of these indicators that I use here, right? Here, the two Kalmans. I also have the micro gaps here, and most importantly, guys, the net lines. And I mean, I've literally looked at them for a decade now, probably well over a decade. And again, it's a concept I stole from Chris Carolyn, spiral calendar. I can never pronounce that word. Spiral calendar, like a spiral, right? He has some kind of cycle theories that he published a few years ago, probably like 20 years back or so. And very smart guy. But that's one of the concepts he came up with, which is kind of orthogonal to the kind of stuff he usually works on. But I never cease to be amazed at how well those net lines work. I mean, it's just freaking amazing. And I'm just, I got to curb my enthusiasm because it just keeps happening over and over again. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of elated actually because I explained yesterday that I had not access to all this stuff that I wrote, which these indicators that I implemented, many years ago. And I had to reset up NinjaTrader, which is this platform we're looking at right here. Set up the data feed, import all my binaries, and I have a huge code base, which is like, strategies with tens of thousands of lines, honestly, huge stuff, complex stuff. And I had to get that all imported and I had to get that all up and running, and it was complicated. So, and I got it up and running and I started plunking these indicators on the charts, on the crypto charts, and I'm like this, man, why have I been looking this stuff for the last, at least, especially the last 6 months, because it would have been so helpful, right? Anyway, better late than never. So, something's happening right now. So this is good timing right here. Let me explain what's going on. So we have these net line buy levels. You see them in green, right, or teal or whatever they are, right? And on here, you see the net line sell levels. And again, the concept is very simple. If you have 1, 2, 3 higher highs, you paint on the next candle a net line sell level. And if you have a net line buy level is produced, a net line sell level, sorry, that's by the highs, a net line buy level is basically inversely created, right? You have 1, 2, 3 lower lows, so one low, second low, third low, and you paint the line at the high of the first candle on the next candle. That's where it starts, and then you give it an expiration. Normally it's 5. I've set this to 7 because it's a 120-minute chart. But, and again, this hasn't been done manually. This was done, automatically because it's an automatic indicator. And look at this, right? And look at it yesterday. See how it always keeps getting rejected and pushed down right there. We have a similar situation. And right now, we're actually pushing through. I mean, we tried before. See, it's trying. This right here is potentially actually very, very bullish. And you know me, I'm not a bull tart. I haven't been, crying wolf for the last 6 months saying, we're bouncing, this is it, buy the dip. I haven't been doing that. I've been, rather annoyingly considering the bearish case over and over again because I just looking at the tape, even without indicators or, actually these are called meta indicators because they're really not indicators in the sense that indicators that as a direct derivative of price, they're actually more derivative of the way the price action unfolds. So it's kind of like, a meta indicator or metacators. Nobody calls them metacators, by the way. Only I do. Maybe I can coin a new term, right? But here we are, right? And you can see, right? It sliced through 2 net line sell levels. And that would have been another sell signal. So if we're on sell mode, we would probably go on short here, but then it closes again in, right? And that's when we probably would, we would go back and, either cash out or stay long. Most likely right now would be neutral and kind of wait this out. So see how I just, again, attempted to overcome this net line buy level and it seems to be still being possible. So, well, but it looks, let me move this a little bit, yeah. So it looks more bullish than, for instance, here yesterday, right? When I did the first update, when I recorded the first update, and because this is usually a nice flush. That's what we're looking for, right? You know, a nice toilet flush. You know, all the shorts. You know, I mean, not the shorts. The longs get, you know, the dip buyers get flushed out, and yeah, and then it bounces back, and that's quite a bounce. I mean, that's right off of like, wow. I was actually traveling. I'm glad I didn't see that. I would have probably thrown up 29,000. So I went all the way there. And I just came back and looked at this price action, and I said, hey, I got to do a market update. So as you can see, we're getting trapped in this, right? We keep getting trapped in this. And yeah, it's a very interesting formation because clearly, right, we have like an inflection point here. And if it's able to overcome this, meaning a close above any of those, see, any of those here. If you see a close above any of these spike highs, we're probably going to see a bounce. Are we going to see the end of this current bearish cycle? That's really difficult to predict. But, you know, for now, I think, you know, a lot of us would probably appreciate at least a nice dead cat bounce, right? That would be nice. So that's how it looks like on Bitcoin USD. Let's look at Ethereum, the same, Ethereum USD. Just going to give you a little bit alternate perspective. So yeah, similar, right? Similar. Here we also have the flush. Here it actually closed above here, which is kind of bullish. This is bullish. So I think Ethereum is actually more bullish right now. As you know, in Cryptonaissance, we're actually holding Ethereum. But it got pushed down again, and now it's down here. So it's kind of interesting that there's like this discrepancy between those two. Being more bullish here because it actually managed to close outside, right? Versus in Bitcoin, we weren't, right? This is less established also than what we see on Bitcoin. But in general, it's a similar congestion, right? Where we have all this congestion zone, which is fairly rare actually to see something like that. When you see congestion zones, a lot of times you see something like this, where you don't have a pattern at all, right? You just things all over the place. There's nothing in sequence, right? It just bounces all over the place, and price is trying to figure itself out. And at best, you're gonna see it continue in the direction of the trend. And by that I mean, on a downtrend, you're going to see netline buy levels which either are touched or never even touched, right? But never overcome, which is great, right? When you actually trending down and you just, you know, either short or in cash or sitting out the market, right? So, but right now we're seeing this accumulation here. So there's a fight going on. It's really trying to paint the floor. You know, this is telling us a story here, right? This is not telling us another story. By the way, this is also here. There was a little micro gap, which are painted here. I probably actually need to paint them a little bit higher because they kind of overlap with these. These are actually when it overcomes the Kalman. And I'm not going to explain the Kalman filter again. If you really want to know what the Kalman is, these two lines are not moving averages. They're something completely different. And I explained that yesterday. I explained the Kalman filter. And I'm trying to actually open a window here. Yeah, that's a Kalman filter. Basically, just for give you 1 minute here with this iterative mathematical process. It's an iterative process, mattress calculations. It uses two inputs, calculated position and measured position. You know, let's say you have a really shitty fuel gauge or temp, and you basically got to measure how much fuel you have left, and this basically calculate very quickly. It takes measurements all over the place, right? Plus minus, which doesn't make much sense. But the Kalman would figure it fairly, maybe it's sloshing around. Actually, that's not a bad example. Actually, think about it. You have a fuel gauge and it's sloshing around. You're off-roading or something like that, and you're trying to figure out how much gas you have, and you need to be precise. Just as an example, right? And this would actually figure out fairly quickly because you would have, a calculated value. You have also the measured value, which of course, when it's sloshing around, you're going to have a lot of variation. And the Kalman, because it's iterative, it's very quickly within 5-6 iterations, it's able to come very close to the actual value. And that's it's a completely different paradigm than you would find on a moving average, right? So you can learn about it. Electroline has a great series on it. You should watch the series if you're a math nerd like me. It's really fun. Brush up your mattress calculations, and it's really fun. It's really fun. Great teacher too. So go on YouTube You know, look up Electroline, you call Kelman. It's like 40 videos or something. It goes really in detail. I spent like a few weeks on it a few years ago. But anyway, look up the Kelman, and it traces the trend extremely well. See, you know, and then here's actually the netline sell level that it scraped. And right now we are like bouncing around. You know, we have it at the center here, so there's no clear trend really. You know, and so in that case, that's when the netlines really come in play, and we're like, you know, we're kind of trying to overcome here, but it's not happening yet. So we might see another step. We might see a little bit more volatility, but in general, this is positive. So again, this is the 120. Let's go back to Bitcoin USD and then look at the daily. All right. So of course, you know, doesn't look as rosy on the daily picture, but it gives us a really good view of what has transpired over the last few weeks here. So yeah, you know, the trend here is still pointing down, so it hasn't really crossed yet. Those are a mile away, and we have gotten basically a new netline buy level here, and that's around 36,000. I think 125. So we're like a few miles away from this, a few bagel throws, right? And yeah, we're trying to paint the flow here, and this is positive. You know, the snapback is very positive, down to 29,000. But we're early in the game. You know, should you buy the dip here? Based on the 120, it's a little bit early also. You know, I would probably wait a little bit more. So, you know. Let's look at Ethereum. All right. Ethereum looks very similar, you know. Oh, this is it. Okay. Yeah, here we even have a net line. We should have one here, actually. What happened? Let me move over here. Okay. 1 second. 1 second. 1, 2, 3. That is interesting. We actually should have a net line here. So I'm not sure why it's not painting this one. Interesting. That is strange, actually. Let me move this over. Huh. Yeah. Not sure why, but 1, 2, 3. Yeah, lower, low. We actually have a net line here. I can paint it manually. That is weird. Oh, wow. I don't remember how to do a drawing. Oh, here we are. Okay. I haven't been using NinjaTrader for a long time, and I'm rusty. Okay, let's draw a straight line here. So 1, 2, 3, right? So net line would be here, basically, something like that. I'm gonna try to draw it straight. Yeah, something like that, right? So we have a net line here, and yeah, I mean, you know, we're quite far away from this. What is the price level here? Let me double click, and it's gonna tell us. It's here on the data. It's kind of weird the way this is organized. All right, start Y. 25, 35 and something. Yeah, 25, 35, something like that. I could look it up. It's basically the high of this candle here. Oh, because we haven't completed yet. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, that's. I just figured out the not miracle, the riddle. Yeah, it's because this candle isn't done yet, Michael. That's why. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3. Once it's completed, it'll paint it here, but it's guaranteed at this point already. We're going to have a net line. I actually could set this indicator to live. It would probably makes no sense to have it set to closed candle, because that doesn't change, right? When it's lower, it's lower. So yeah, so we're going to have the net line here, and that's going to be the next inflection point. So maybe we're not too far away. So that would be a good buy point. A more secure buy point than on here. It's very speculative this year, this flush out. So, and that's where we are. Okay, so basically, where are we? Like 15 minutes. God, 15 minutes is already 10 minutes too long. I'm gonna try to keep them shorter in the future, so that you guys just can pop in, look at it, and get a takeaway, right, and know what to do. So that's my goal, you know, just kind of keep educating you guys on my lens. This is how I consider my lens of how I look at the market. There is no wrong or right lens. There's just a lens that you can make work for you. This is not necessarily your lens, but it's my lens, and that's how I explain the market. I can just say that it has worked very well for me over the years, and I've used this a long time ago before I even ever, thought of trading crypto. So, you know what I mean? It's not something that's experimental. And similar to the Kalman as well, or micrograms. These are all very well-established concepts. And I just kind of put them together in my personal way to interpret price action. For me, this works extremely well in terms of, calling the swings. And I'm honestly, I have to be honest, I'm kicking myself a little bit that I didn't set this up, weeks or even months ago, because it would have probably helped us a little bit on the way down, play the swings. I mean, you can really see the crossover here, see that here, and then the buy level here, and then, the same here. I mean, crikey, right? But, better late than never, as they say, right? So here we are, and I'm going to keep delivering this stuff to you, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you can make it work and integrate it into your trading, and that's my goal, all right? And then see what happens. Have a nice day, guys, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.